Hello, everyone. Sorry that I've been a little bit slow with the vlogs. Missed the last couple of weeks. I'm a person who likes to be just a bit open and out there. So as you probably heard on the news, here in Australia, we're going through a bit of a tough time, specifically in my state of Victoria, and where I live in Melbourne. Unfortunately, we're having rolling protests basically constantly. And a couple of weeks back, we basically had a week of protests slash riots, and a lot of this is coming about because, look, I'm not going to mix words. Our state premiers, he's insane. He's insane. And it's, yeah, it's been kind of sucky. So I've just kind of been having to just emotionally process that. And also I like to pay attention to sort of culture and politics stuff. So trying to get my head around things and think through stuff and, have heated discussions with friends and, just kind of figure that out. Anyway, so that's why. Not saying things have now calmed down here in Australia, but just I think I'm a bit more processed with it at the moment, and I really want to get a vlog out to you guys. So for today, I just wanted to, I'll give you an update on how Fragged Empire 2 is going. So in short, it's going great. The rules are done, the lore is done, and we're now in the phase of editing, and playtesting. Playtesting never finishes. I will be playtesting and polishing and editing this thing right up until the end. And that's just how it is. Though that stuff is not complete, it's just stopped. And we're waiting for some new pictures. So as soon as I get my front cover artwork, I'll be kicking into overdrive to get my Kickstarter all ready, which will be February next year. Just if people are interested. And anyway, so with the art side of things, I've got a few more key bits of art that I'm wanting to do. Unfortunately, or fortunately, one of my principal artists has moved on a while ago to a new job. He's now working for some computer game companies and making some big money, and I think that's fantastic. And then one of my backup high quality artists has also moved on to full-time employment as well. And I've had a bit of a hard time finding extra artists, but I think after a lot of wrangling, I might have found an additional support artist. I'm not sure if she's got the time to be a new principal artist, but her name's Tatiana Petrova from Russia, and just her stuff's great. I know it's very fantasy and things, but this picture specifically, just gorgeous, captured my attention a lot with that. And so she's going to be doing a bit of art for Fragged. I'm a bit excited about that, to see what she can do. And I thought this might be a good chance to sort of give you guys a little bit of a peek behind the scenes of what it's like to do art direction. This is something I'm particularly passionate about. So I've been doing Fragged stuff basically full time for about 7 years now, and one of the things that I found the most satisfying is doing art direction. I love it. I love writing briefs for artists. I love giving artists money. I love getting them to draw just cool things. I'm very passionate about trying to be a good client. Myself, I used to do background in graphic design. I worked did that at uni. I also loved illustration. I'll just flip the camera. There's one of my pictures on the wall there. And in another life, I wanted to be a concept artist, and I traveled over to New Zealand and met the Weta team and a bunch of other people who worked on Star Wars. But anyway, that was not a road for me. Also, I'm married to an artist, not just a dabbling artist. She's an actual artist with an artist brain, and I love it. And I think this stuff sort of equips me to talk to artists and learning how to get the best out of them. And I don't just mean squeezing them for the best, the most better money equation. No, it's not like that. It's like, how do you get these really cool evocative pictures out of people? How do you find them? How do you spot talent? I love that stuff. Cool. Anyway, so I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I've been doing recently with art, and then I'm going to tell you, basically walk you from beginning to end, like doing a picture. So firstly, I'm also doing some updates of some art from first edition. So this is a picture that you guys all remember from Fragged first edition. I've changed the Legion, so we've updated that design, really locked that look down for the Legion. And here's a sketch that Tatiana sent me. So this is like the initial artist, hey, have I got your idea right? Is the composition correct sort of sketch? So really, really loose and light. And I love it. So that's going to be great. This is not Rachel, by the way. This is a different Kaltoran girl. And I have sent a brief to my principal artist, Clonher, to do cover artwork for Fragged. So Clon has been he's been with me from the start. And so, so I'll send him a written brief, and then I send these sort of art collages. So little sketches by me showing rough compositions in my brain. This one I want to be snow, so I sort of found this is sort of snow I'm looking for. This one I want like colourful springs, so that's sort of in this one. And then these are the characters that are going to go in it. I label them, so when I talk about them in the brief, he knows which one I'm talking about. And he did all these characters, so he knows them quite intimately. And I try to keep things as loose as possible with my art briefs. So before I get too specific into an art brief, let's talk about the specifics of this RPG industry and how it's different from other industries in terms of getting artwork prepared. So if you are working on novels and you're getting an illustration done, you will need to be very specific with that illustration because it needs to perfectly match the story that's being told. The expressions on the faces, the equipment, the weapons they're using, the environment they're in, their opponent, who they are, how they're all dressed. It's got to be very careful. And granted, a novel will usually just have one nice, big, great front cover picture. But it needs to be very, very precise. And so often that will cost a lot more because that design time from the artist and also the time it takes to extract the right information out of you as a customer, it takes them more time. Okay? And so therefore you have to pay for that. And that's just a given. Also, a little thing, often novelists are not necessarily the most visual people, so they're not necessarily writing the best briefs or have the best idea of what they want. So that will often just mean a bit more of discussion time with the artist. The other thing, so if you're working in computer games or movies, you're going to end up doing a lot more concept art. And so, designing art. And so what this means is that you get pictures. So, so if you, for example, just have a look at this. So you end up with like these lots and lots of sketches about characters. You're exploring ideas. So the types of ideas you're exploring, it's got to have a good silhouette. So it's memorable on the screen for a computer game. Very important. All different characters have got to have very tight silhouettes. Then you've got to have these nice, oddly enough, they're called character sheets, where they're designing them up because you're working with a team, and so you've got to have consistency across the board. So each one is doing it quite right. But then you've also got to think about this thing's got to be 3D modeled. So for computer games, you're not going to want lots of stray hair. Like that just can become a bit of a nightmare to model. And so you're thinking about that type of stuff. So you've got to do a lot of design work to get that right. Now, here's the beautiful thing about RPGs. So RPGs are not, they're not like this 3D interactive digital medium. They're not principally a story. They're principally world building. And so I can do these beautiful illustrations in my books, but I don't have to have a huge amount of time into getting it specifically right. So I can write quite light briefs. And that's what I want to do with my artists. My briefs are going to be so tight. They only mention the very important things. And then you want to give as much liberty to the artist as possible, because I want them to spend that time thinking about compositions, colors, and all that. I don't want them spending time trying to extract information out of my head or matching a specific design. And so that's quite good for us as RPGs players. So let's have a look. So there's two things I want to show you. So firstly, I'm going to show you a brief. So this is this picture, and this is the brief that I sent with this picture. So you'll see that. So this is going to be a full illustration. Okay, this is just step one. Okay. So this is my brief, and this is not necessarily the perfect brief. So important things, so you want to do file size. Okay, so often you would just do pixels on that one, and then, but I've got into this habit of actually preparing an actual file that's pixel perfect, and the gray area is the bleed, and sending that to my artist. I know is probably not best practices, but I don't know why I got into the habit of doing it, but I know why I got into the habit of doing it, because sometimes I have very odd bleeds on my pictures, 1.5 page illustrations, so that's why I got into that habit. Anyway, so a bleed on a picture is that little bit around the edge where the pictures are slightly bigger than what's going to be printed in the book. And what this allows for is if there's ever so slight movement in the picture, like when it's get printing, and you don't get much of it these days, but it's good practices to have an extra few millimeters around the edge, just in case there's a slight nudge, you don't start getting little white bands at the top or the sides of your illustration. Okay, and then I just do due date. I do very loose due dates. So a month for this one, I said, but normally if I've got, like, for example, a Kickstarter coming out, or I've got a set print date, then I'll set a hard date for that. Okay, then I just do overview. So this is just talking about, so I'll read it out, a character throwing dice across a gridded board with miniatures, like she's playing a board game or a role-playing game. The goal of this is to show the character having fun as she plays a game. Use the below character as a drawing from another artist who is working on this project. Okay, so this is the first bit. It's just give a general idea of the tone. She's playing a game, rolling dice, and she's positive about this experience. And then I'll show little pictures here. So this left one is just one that I've quickly sketched up as a composition for myself, just to give an idea. And then this here is a picture of the character that I want drawn. So this, and I've specified that this is from another artist who's working on this project. So if I was showing, for example, this picture here, you see these ones, these aren't from Fragged, okay? So I don't want the artist exactly copying those, but I do want the artist exactly copying this one, because this is a Fragged character. So they can do an exact match without infringing on someone else's intellectual property. And producing art gets easier as you have more art produced, okay? So it's easier to design. The first pictures can be just whatever, and you're sort of, sometimes the artist will draw things a specific way, you think that looks cool, so you incorporate it into the lore, but then you've written the lore, so then you want some of that incorporated into the picture, and you've kind of developing a tone and a set of assets for your project. But then as you get towards the end of a project, or a project's been around for a while, you then get to reference this existing design work that other artists have done to make future work easier. So that's what we've done here. I want this character here playing a game. Cool. And then I just do specific notes. So this is stuff that the artist may overlook if they're not looking super tight, okay? And I don't want my artist looking super tight and meticulously analyzing the characters and get them exactly right. In fact, on this character here, I might even alter the design a little bit, and then I'll go back and alter this one. I think maybe she wants a tattoo on her arm or something like that. Anyway, so the notes here, just because I don't want to miss them. The lady has 4 pointed ears and dreadlocks hair, because she's Kaltoran. Her goggles may be up if you want. So they don't have to be on her eyes, they can be on her head. So just giving the artist options there. She looks happy, that's just a key point. Maybe make the miniatures on the board game holographic, so just sort of giving ideas of different options here. The characters do not need much detail, and if it would save money, we could make them simple objects, tokens, or just random monsters. So I'm just trying to highlight this board, the specifics are not actually super important. Okay? The dice should look a little sci-fi, maybe metal with glowing pips. Just an idea, like I want these dice to look a little bit interesting. And the background can be ambiguous, so it's probably just going to be a bit of a blurry background. So just points, okay? Just points, highlights, and then everything else, let the artist go nuts. And then they'll draw a picture and they'll annotate it, and we'll go backwards and forwards until we get a final one. And that's the next thing I'm going to show you. What does that look like? So this is for this picture here, and this is a little bit more back and forwards than normally, but I'll walk you through it, okay? So this is the initial composition sketch. Which one of these looked the best, okay? And I've went with the left one here. And then I send the artist notes. So I've thought, okay, I get rid of these weird hip G-string strap things. I didn't like those, because I don't want this character, while she's a character that's obviously comfortable in her body, she's not there trying to be sexy, if that makes sense. And then I'm like, okay, yes, let's get the code in here, make sure I highlight the glowy bits. So I've just copy and pasted this character here, design work, just to, show what I'm referencing. Her top is not quite of a match of this. And then, just little nudges. I like this. And then they sent me, high definition, bit of render. And I love this sketch so much. I love sketch work. And then, just more notes. Okay, well, we need to give her a collar and stuff like that. So then we're now getting the tones and the hues correct. And then thinking about this gun here, I thought, we need to fix that up a little bit. And, just more notes, just backwards and forwards, keeping it loose. And then we're really exploring colors here, like which one is the right one. So I could have went with any of these; they all look great. But then we went for here. We just want to add just a little bit more glowing. I think we just need the finger there fixed a bit. Just decided to change the hand and add just more neon punk sort of stuff. And there we go. And that's kind of the steps. Now, that's probably more incremental steps than an artist would normally send me. I was a bit more specific on this one because it's a big feature bit of art that's going to go here. This is selling the corporation, so it kind of had to be perfect. And then, because it's a role-playing game, I went in there and did a little introduction, example character, some notes on them, what their population, who made them, little pointers. People love that stuff. And then I did all the graphic design with this top bit here. Yeah, cool. Anyway, that is a glimpse into what it's like to do art direction. I could talk about this stuff forever. I'm really passionate about this stuff. Yeah, and I think, Fragged is just looking better and better. This second edition is going to be probably one of the best looking RPGs out there, especially for an indie RPG. Cool. Anyway, take care, everyone. I hope you have a great